up at SoftBank Hawks, it's, hey, can we find these big team fights with cool flanks coming through from Ebby, but we're immediately into the draft.
We are indeed, and we have to question that top lane champ pool. Another thing they said on desk is looking through playoffs, Raz mentioned that cannon pick, which despite a minor nerf, still an option here to get an early priority on this red-sided team. So for SoftBank Hawks, we already banned away the Cassante. One option in the top lane, shifted in gears as the Vi on the other side, which has been a rising jungler, taken off as that cannon I just mentioned. It looks like they've done their homework.
And I was also curious to see how Hawks were going to try and opt into this, because I was wondering if we get a little bit more attention towards Kiaya in the top lane. Like, he lost twice in the Jax, but he's definitely a big Jax player that stands out of my mind when you've looked at him historically on international tournaments. So I was kind of wondering if we get a ban towards him in the top side, outside of just the Cassante, but more of the carry-oriented picks as well.
Because he's got so many options, right? You mentioned the Jax, his second most played in history. He's got things like the Renekton and the Jace as an option as well. Don't forget when you look at Kiaya, as Aurora's open and locked in. Yesterday it was banned away quite a lot, and now we finally see it debut.
Yeah, it was PSG and Pain Gaming that were continuously banning this on red side, so we're just starting to see where those scrim bubbles were a little bit as Aurora immediately locked in. Now, we have seen it played in the top lane previously for Kiaya, so that could easily be flexed up to that position if he wants to, but also towards Emo in that mid lane.
A lot of good options into it. Again, what is a very melee-focused meta in the top lane, Dagda. This as well has also followed through us into 14-18 as the Ziggs gets locked in immediately, usually paired up with something like the Leona. An engaged tool for the bot side if they want to look at that, or get Forest a priority jungler here before Levi has his fill.
Yeah, I like the Ziggs pick because it just kind of opens up a huge amount of opportunities to go for, like something like a Yone or something along these lines in the mid lane if you want to, just having that AP damage. But Forest immediately going to go towards that lockdown, which I do like when you have a Ziggs, because traditionally you've seen them pair along things like the Nautilus, because it's the point-and-click CC, lock people in place, and then set up for a big ultimate from the Ziggs. Jarvan does the exact same thing, and when you've got something like the Jhin there that is quite immobile, this long-range engage into the follow-up from the Ziggs could immediately one-shot easy love if he's not careful.
As the Poppy as a potential counter pick gets locked in on the other side too. Let's not forget that this has been a flex. A lot of people are hoping it continues to be a flex for their pick'ems at Worlds, and against the Jarvan, it is a mitigating factor that can stop him in play.
Yeah, and I think that's really what they're playing for here, is to try and control that, but this could easily be swapped down in towards that bottom side of the map if you want to. Like, it's Poppy is Elio's third most played, so this is definitely something that they can try and look for, as Rumble going to be taken for Ebby. So this is a heavily AP focused composition from SoftBank Hawks, so I'm expecting some sort of AD mid laner now to come through for a Dasher, just to try and keep some sort of AD focus here.
Well, let's go through that pairing, right? Yone's still up and available. That's something we've seen already as well, because outside of that, we start thinking about the Syndra, the Orianna, which you already mentioned. There's so much AP in this composition, as Nocturne against Levi. I mean, it's making me chuckle a little bit, seeing these pockets of historic picks that are constantly being snapped away.
Yeah, I think it is, one, as you say, respect towards Levi and what he has brought to the table in the past, but also just warranting that we still don't know exactly where this Aurora is going, right? I mean, you have that Rumble who is more than likely going into that top side of the map. You can see a lot of push, you got good control, you can kind of keep this Rumble at bay, so this could be a decent matchup for the Aurora in that top side, and then you still go for this like Nocturne Orianna combo in the mid lane. So I like that Hawks are still respecting that movement that we can see from the Aurora.
And I have to say, it is more fun talking about flexes when it's not an 80 carry. Is this Ezreal going mid, bot? Thank God, by the way, folks, we're out of that meta. Like, I am cheering that we are seeing mages in the mid lane again. I'm cheering that we're seeing some of these mage flexes as well. As Bard, one of those lockdown in plays taken away with the Leona pairing up with the Ziggs that we were mentioning earlier on, also off the board. So Dagda, now the question becomes, mid lock in here, again, when you don't know what's going on, do we get an early support and look for that R5 mid instead? What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't be surprised to just try and leave that counter pick for Ebby, just in that top side, just to make sure he gets a good matchup, because you more than likely expect that they are going to continue this flex with the Aurora. So as you see, the Rel just taken, very strong pick, great follow-up engage and a lot of setup. So honestly, I like what Hawks are bringing to the table, and it feels very Hawks-esque, right? This big wombo, like, mess up this area in particular with the Jarvan ultimate, and you're gonna have a great time. So this feels very reminiscent of what we've seen from them when they played in the PCS and when they played in the LJL. But the Shyvana for Levi, so this was one of the most banned against GAM in their home region. It was like second most banned, I want to say, off the
64%.
Yeah, 64%.
Big hit.
It was absolutely insane. So I'm not fully surprised to see it, but it does mean again that you kind of keep this flexibility of like, let's see where we want to try and round this composition out.
And it's good that we've got Shyvana OTP on the analyst desk to break down after this game as well. The Tristana still looked at, and yes, locked in again. So we've got double 80 carry on the composition. The Shyvana with the Shojin build we can maybe talk about as we go into game. Raises some questions here, but Dagda, let's round it out. Let's see where SHG go for their final pick.
Yeah, you kind of, oh, it's going to be the Lucian. Okay, so I like the Lucian coming through here because it just is like, hey, look, we can try and match up in this mid lane. And then, as we already said, I think the Aurora is a decent matchup into the Rumble in that top side. So I think for Hawks, they've kind of rounded out hey, we at least have a pushing lane that we can look to play through in that mid lane. Because when I look at what the Jhin is capable of doing into that bot side of the map and the Aurora on the top, I think you're going to be under a little bit of pressure here as far as for Levi trying to find these invades off of top push, off of bot push, and just making your life a little bit of hell in the early stages of the game.
I mean, hell is a good name for the game, but again, we talked about both these teams and how they were through their domestic competitions, and at least you can say for SHG, PCS became that, where they're very team fight focused team. We talk about SHG just hard committing, this is going to be our fight. For GAM as well, their early game has been criticized, and we're not talking about them like a classic VCS style where the first 15 minutes are hell for the opponents. They play through lanes, they play a quick game. For GAM, it is all about how they congregate as well. So we expect these 5v5 to pop off as we open up your day 2 of Worlds.
Yeah, the only thing I'm a little bit nervous of is that we did see this Tristana made yesterday for PSG Talon. Didn't work out so hot. It felt like kind of a remnant of the past. Almost kind of a similar story for the Lucian though, which was matched into it on our side, which was taking the bot lane in the last game. But I do think this is kind of where I think the nerfs have been so heavy to AD carries in the mid lane, both like systematically and then to some of the champions directly, that it's just not worthwhile anymore. So I'm a little nervous to see how this Tristana will do, but you always get to come back into the next game, so we'll have to see how Emo's going to try and perform here.
Maybe without reliable engage, we can talk more about that. GAM versus SHG, game 1, as we open up another day of play-ins. A lot of people coming in saying GAM time. I can hear the CEO from backstage, by the way, shouting, it's GAM time. But for the Hawks, they need your love as well. Again, it's a very big moment once again for not only Japan, for the LJL, for the PCS too, considering that only one team in the LJL's history was able to get through and do the unthinkable, getting through play-ins. There's a lot of stories on this roster that we'll break down for you over the course of this best of 3, as we talked initially before about some of the history, as we just set up for the standard fan.
I do like Ebi already starting with his E though. The Harpoon going to be way more effective in this matchup because you can see Kiaya already opting for the grasp. This is I'm going to push you, I'm going to poke you, I'm going to prod you down, and just make it very difficult, especially with the move speed that you get after hitting that third proc on your W passive to walk away. Is Ebi might actually get some
It's eerie, isn't it? I'm not hearing any game sound, and it's like, oh, we're in the library of top lane, and Kiaya just decides to whack for a few with Graf getting a trade as well.
I'm really glad that came on because I was about to ask you to start doing the sound effects as we went through. But look, we're here. Ebi going to get a ward down, trying to spot out where Levi is. So I think at this point, it's just a case of how effectively can Forest try and influence his lanes, because there's a lot of pushing lanes for GAM, and I think you need to kind of get active as Forest early, get some early leads, and just make things a lot easier for you, because if GAM are just allowed to play their game, you've got so much poke and the opportunities to invade as well for GAM that'll make it tough for Hawks in the early stages.
I mean, again, using that priority is good as, again, just a quick reminder, this team, if you don't know them internationally, if this is like your first Worlds, well, it's taken you a while, but we won't judge you that hard, considering that this is the team of the VCS. I mean, this is the team that, yeah, the names might not be too known with Emo, Easy Love, Elio, but Levi and Kiaya by now, you should know them like the back of your hand.
Yeah, especially when this has been, what, their 10th or 11th championship even, and this has been a team that has been dominant for so long. This was the first split, though, in a long, long time where they didn't look as dominant coming in. A lot of people favoring Vikings coming into their finals, but it was better target selection and team fights, great macro that let them overcome Vikings in the long run, and I think that's what they're going to need to do. Bring that out again here against Hawks.
I mean, again, it's just crazy when you think that, you know, this team wasn't favored when you still have Levi and Kiaya. We've talked them to death as small trade through mid. Good dodge and sidestep from Emo as he looks for that explosive charge and tries to ramp it up a few. But apart from that, Dasher just a little bit lower. Remember, both mids have TP here as Levi starts pathing up towards the top side. Surprise, surprise. He's pathing up towards the slow pushing lane of Kiaya, like normal.
Yeah, I do like this though, because this is kind of where Kiaya is most vulnerable. The opportunity to go for a gank in the long lane with Forest able to chase is always going to be a bit of an issue. So moving up there, keeping Kiaya in check, making sure he's going to be fine on this push out. Look for the early reset would definitely help out quite a bit. But I want to see what Forest ends up doing, because you can see already Elio trying to get some wards.
Crashdown's there, Ignite. He's in trouble. Easy Love is isolated. His support had to move for the water. As you said, he flashes in, but the Steadfast won't stop anything. Marvel runs through his side, so Elio does get a trade, but over to the support. It won't be long before Forest gets involved with the remount, the knock up, the flag down, and Elio going bear up. Big kills to the bot side of SHG.
Easy Love stepped up when his support wasn't there, and immediately Hawks clap. Great turnaround, and the fact that you had Forest there as well means that you get the support as well, make that a 2-for-1. I think you're kind of lucky though that Marble end up dying in that engage, because otherwise you could have got that wave pushed in, and Easy Love would have been set so far behind. But you see it here, Elio was aware, hey look, we're not sure where Jarvan is, I'm gonna go and find out, get some vision down. But Easy Love stepping up too far. Vista, great engage into the bush as well, hitting that blind Q, and then Marble tries to help out, ends up falling. And then it's just the fact that Jarvan's here as well means that Elio will fall down on top.
Something early for Forest in this Jarvan. As we come back, there's action towards mid. Flash away from Emo. Elio made the roam towards mid, and his flash was already burnt from before. So a couple of summoners down now for GAM, as Emo also just TP'd back into this lane.
Yeah, the fact that you had to burn the flash there for Emo is making things a little bit suspect, because it makes it a little bit easier for Forest to try and look for a gank. Traditionally, you would want to try and use that jump from the Tristana to get away from the engage, but if you're able to follow it up with the flash, it makes it so much more difficult to buffer. Now Hawks
fighting again, Shattering Strike. Bit of damage down comes through thanks to Marble. Easy Love looks for an angle himself, but nothing apart from the 4-shot gearing up.
I like this aggression from Hawks though, because you, as a Shyvani, you want to try and quick farm to level 6 and then you really become on the map. But the fact that you are so aggressive here as Hawks is actually making it really difficult for GAM to try and get control in these early stages.
And you know how earlier on you're talking about how for this PCS second seed, they really love playing towards the bot side, as we've talked historically, right? Well, for this game as well, Levi maybe has to change it up a little bit. Shyvana with the dragon stacking is good as it ignores that. Elliot's just dead. Maybe they can play for themselves now.
Vista's styling on them. This is a sick performance. The fact he's consistently finding these members of GAM on the bottom side. And this was something we talked about all fair before we came in as Starks, was like how Hawks like to try and play for this bottom side. And it felt like trying to get these big balls rolling for them to find that success in the team fights. But GAM, I thought, might just try and find success through Kiaya, play hyper-aggressive there, and maybe that's where Hawks' game plan falls apart, but so far, Hawks have been dominating GAM.
I mean, again, it's a really good start as Forest looks to make that through mid. Remember, no flash here on Emo, so he has to be careful. Rocket Jump, of course, going to get him out of the safety, but now it's a transition towards Grubs as GAM already started off.
Forest going to try and move in here. This is a little bit late to the party. I think they should just get one, and back it on up. Yes, you have push for Kiaya in that top end, but with the rotation coming through, that's way faster for Marble. You're just going to be outnumbered. So yeah, Hawks going to be able to pick up 2 for themselves, and I think this will be kind of deja vu when we look towards those next round of Grubs as well. Marble should always have push in this bottom side, and even having the teleport available means that he should be able to move back up here and guarantee 4 at minimum, if not 5, for Hawks.
It looked like Kiaya really wanted to force there, but even though Between Worlds is available, he's not going to pull the trigger just yet. Good satchel as Marble, again, has changed positions. Not twofold a strike of Kiaya. Might be in dive range here. Vista goes through turret. Having a ramping up game 1. Vista just wants to keep going. Fast, fast, fast.
I think was hoping to burn the flash from Kiaya because Forest was going to come around, but now Forest in a bad spot. Steadfast presence could stop him, but he ends up just walking his one out.
So Levi transitions to bot, gets the dragon after 1 grub, and again, as the Shyvana, as I was trying to explain before, Dak, we all know dragons are key. Gives you bonus stat, bonus armor, MR. So for Shyvana, for the kit, absolute cheering, as Levi is now also level 6 too.
Yeah, I'm curious how well Kiaya is going to do here, because there's going to be a lot of poke that's coming down. He's not exactly the most mobile of champions, and you can already see Marble getting good damage down. Oftentimes you can tell a good Ziggs player by how they end up using the satchel. I know Ox was very vocal about this. just it's like, instead of using it a huge amount for your damage capabilities, it's more so about how you move that person around with it, because you don't tend to max it second now. So it means it's not the damage burst, it's about knocking them into certain positions, and Marble's doing a great job of it right now.
And Vista's just hovering him because he knows what he's doing. We're waiting for it. The satchel can be interrupted, but Kiyaya's poked out yet again. Vista realigns with his AD carry, or AP carry I should say, and the next push is going to come through. The wave clear already there thanks to the lost chapter. And I'm just looking at this stack that Kiyaya has no TP. So if he foregoes this turret, I mean, there's going to be so much taken because of Marble's damage.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be able to get a good amount out of it as Dasher's going back away, but it's not as if you're going to be able to take the tower as Helio's doing his damnedest, but Demolish on the Rel helping out a little bit there. But with Hawks playing very heavily for Marble right now, it looks like they just want to try and make this a demolition comp and just run through these towers as quickly as possible.
So this is how they play for topside, except bots topside. I get it
What's
now.
What's a player calls the Australian lanes? He must feel right at home.
I do. I feel like we're upside down as far as steals the blue buff. He's looking for more, though. And with Vista now having himself the Magnet Storm, he wants to go in, but Elio with the flash commits before he can pull the trigger. Steadfast presence says no more moving as Forest flashes away, but Levi is a dragon with bones to bite. Double kill going over to Easy Love, and GAM's early game is back on.
The Hawks were trying to essentially just cheat tempo, knowing, hey, look, Marble has that ultimate available. We can play deep into this top side because we can always have that Ziggs ultimate over the top to make it an uneven fight, but just too many members of GAM end up showing up and they're punished.
You see Dasher getting a bit of a heavy trade. Emo, again, shaking hands as he's done all game, but Dagda with that kill, or rather double going over to Easy Love. 2 kills now for the Jhin, pushes the gold back into swing a little bit. Static Shiv on the return to base as well. Bit more wave clear now added into the kit that GAM can play with for these upcoming objective moves.
Yeah, I always like when the Jhin gets accelerated as Kiyaya's just going to go invisible
into the veil,
but because you tend to see this mosquito build of the static shiv, rapid fire cannon. You don't really do damage. Mosquito build.
Lovely.
So you want that infinity edge as that third item. So the faster and more accelerated you get, the better position you're in as GAM. Trying to move away here, but they really need to be focused on the lanes if they're hoping to get control over this top side, because I'm looking at that timer, it's a minute until those Void Grubs, and now they've kind of used a lot of their time to get vision in this bottom side, which is going to allow Marbles now to get control in the spot end, because Forest is now back out of the map faster. You're probably going to see that rotation that we were talking about, where they move back up into the top lane with Marble, even have the teleport available if he wants to, and just get significant amount of value from these Grubs with the Ziggs.
And I mean, again, giving Grubs over to the side of GAM is so huge, but for both these teams, you think, oh, we've got a Tristana. Grubs would be great. Grubs will also be great for the Ziggs, as you pointed out before as well. Has great impact for the Lucian too. I mean, this is a game where, yeah, topside maybe matters a little bit more than what we've seen over the first day, what we've seen in the rising meta coming through 14-17, 14-18 Dagda. People focusing Dragons more about that as I continue to yap, because topside you said is the focus. Grubs are coming up. There's a big push top. Mid looks to handshake, and we see movement coming across now setting up, especially from SHG.
Yeah, I prefer this from Marble. So he gets the control ward down, so then he can just spot out if there is any sort of cross map coming through from GAM. But I'd prefer to see him move back down to the bottom side. He has that teleport available and can always come involved. Now, obviously you've got it on Dasher as well. I just think it's more valuable on Dasher, but Levi already going to get one, so denying one of these Grubs away, Hawks a little bit late to the objective.
He's got Dragon Form available as well. SoftBank Hawks know this, they know it well. As Emo moves into Fog of War bot, you can see he's ready to TP. There we go, Keeper's Verdict. Swinging and not missing. No flag and drag for Forest. He's back in the jungle. Now for the full commit, as the teleport was already burned. SHG have 4 members, but they've lost their 5th. That was a nice poppy ult, and it gives the Grubs over to GAM.
And this was something that I had criticism watching the PCS of Hawks, was just how they worked their lane assignments. Yeah. You can see there, Marble was still bot. They didn't really know if they wanted Marble bot or Dasher bot or what way they wanted to do it, and they spent so much time getting themselves correct on the map that GAM ended up just sneaking away that entire thing. And then, as you say, great ultimate from Elio sets things up beautifully there. So 4 Grubs now to GAM in what always should have been a Hawks objective.
And again, we said, you know, how important these lanes were for the Hawks coming into the game, especially with how bot started. It felt like the early game was in such a nice state. The PCS second seed is Levi. It's Dragon time. Between worlds we spread as Kiyaya ranges down an annoying champion, whether it's Levi's or Kiyaya. They stay true to their style, and now Levi's on the board.
Yeah, Aurora makes it to Worlds, and everyone remembers just how annoying that ultimate is. You just don't get to move. And even though you have the freedom of moving in that bubble, you don't want to move anywhere out from underneath the tower, so punished. nicely as Vista looking for Elio once more. Has
Shattering
that flash.
Strike. Looking to get Emo's, I think, as well. Maybe trying to kite it out as Elio takes some damage. Culling going to be blocked, though. Emo doesn't save his support. It was a close call as even Vista gets out off the back end.
Yeah, nicely done by Dasher. Cancels the culling to get that second double shot.
To fight.
Here we go.
The flourish not there. The Ziggs bomb is, though. And in the Thunderdome, blowing one apart as Levi finds out the fun side of that combo. Well, Kiaya is getting auto-attack to death, but minions in the way. Evie can't follow that up much more, even with the flash. Doesn't commit.
Yeah, the missed harpoon, heartbreaking there for Evie, because that would have been a kill with the slow and that extra magic pen that comes through off it as well. Evie would have been in a great spot, but fortunately just not quite able to get it, so Kiaya sticks around. But look at Elio. He's here to help out Kiaya if Evie tries to go for the dive.
Between Worlds is not available. Again, gets a slow though, but Elliot pushes him further apart. Does he have the damage with the buckler alone? Kiaya running out of mana, but he has that flash available. Chooses not to. The scrap shield is enough to help him get away.
Yeah, Vista just here as a firm warning for GAM that you need to back away from this one, but this has been bloody in these early stages. I mean, the fact that you're still seeing gold relatively even, objectives relatively evenly split as well, like this is still anyone's game. The main factor for me is going to be a case of how do we try and play out these different lane states as we start to move in, because I think for GAM, yes, Kiaya will be good at like being able to push away, but is very vulnerable in these extended lanes, so I don't think you really want to opt into these 1-3-1s. So I imagine it'll be more like, hey, we're going to play out 1-4, try and look for picks with Kiaya off of that ultimate, and then see if we can follow up with a ton of long range damage from the Shyvana, from Jhin, set up for these nice plays. But if Hawks ever find a moment to group at a Dragon or any of these fights, they have so much long range and great team fighting. It's kind of hard for GAM to play that one out.
As we speak of that long range in the bottom right of your screen, while it's Forest taking away this top side of the map, you can see Herald will eventually go down, but it was the cost of the turret. First turret goes over to GAM, small gold injection, and now for SHG, they want a hard commit to this top side. Everyone moving up.
Yeah, they're looking for the cross map. Yeah, you're just going to get a bit of poke, but the tower should fall. Okay, just trying to get as much value. I'm surprised he's going back to the tower and Hawks aren't punishing.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got Elio in the area, but I'm pretty sure you could have killed Kiaya very quickly there.
I'd be worried about the curtain call that into the mix from Easy Love, but regardless, Dagda, you raise a valid point. But the Hawks are not getting much else. Levi now Dragon form, forces away Marble. There's the curtain call. They've got their own wombo of their own as over the top, over the edge, and everything in between. Right between is Marble running for his life, while Levi with a Dragon's Breath, a Fury, and an explosive charge. GAM find another one, and I think GAM are indeed in charge.
The flourish is deadly off the back of that one, just barely sniping Vista, but this is going to open up so much for GAM. Should be able to take this mid lane tower, and that makes things so much easier for them to operate. Looking for these picks. There's the bomb.
Doesn't clear the wave,
but yeah, you're just not strong enough right now to clear out that mid wave.
Forcing around Levi's ult timing is starting to become something of a reoccurrence here, it feels like, for GAM, as he looks to defend topside. Dash is going to walk in to try. Levi again with that spear as Shojin now going AP is able to defend. Kiaya's up here too, and Dasher just can't get this turret. Yeah. Or can he? Localized gold denied though.
Yeah. A local gold denied is fairly nice, but a lot of members of GAM starting to move up, and I think it's a good call from GAM to actually let the turret go down and deny that local gold. It can be quite impactful when you're able to pick it up, but still, nice round of play from GAM. They cover topside, and Hawks could have potentially gone for the dive, but they decided not to take it, so this is kind of something where I looked at Hawks a lot, and they were afraid almost to take a lot of these plays.
Yep.
It felt like they were almost heavily reliant on these team fights. Now, I still don't think the goal difference is big enough where they won't be able to find them, and you've still got Rift Tower in your back pocket. But I think at this stage, I think Hawks need to set up in mid lane, use this Rift Tower to try and force GAM into some sort of 5v5. Just make sure that everyone is going to be utilized, because otherwise GAM could just try and play at the map state, get more of these towers, and just put a lot of pressure on towards Hawks.
And think about how that pressure applies as well, Dagger. If Levi's involved now with the Leandri's Torment picked up as the second item, that Dragon's Breath hurts. There's a lot of stinging from long range, right? Jhin, Shyvana, and we talk about those angles that can be played from Emo, from Kiaya. In this game, we're obviously talking up GAM, but with the Herald down in mid, they try to find an angle themselves in SHG, but this TP says otherwise. Kiaya wants to send them to a different world, but spotted out on a ward, doesn't pull the angle off.
Emo's still in that bot wave though, so I think Hawks could have maybe looked for something off the back of it, but they're gonna have to try and moving down towards this bottom side as Dasher. Gonna take a little bit of a love tap from Emo, but GAM, still, this is what we were talking about. Like, we traditionally think of the VCS as bloody, aggressive, a million and one kills at 15, but Levi is flashing away from those kills. He wants nothing to do with this.
He's out of dragon form and he's done.
GAM are just playing for the macro game, and Hawks are crumbling a little bit here.
Now, Vista on the back end, they do get some poke down, which matters again with Leandri's. Even that E in normal Shyvana form hurts as GAM moves to dragon.
Yeah, still, you got Dasher on the bottom side.
Between Worlds is big point. That's huge. That's huge. That Between Worlds has sent me to a different one. Packing as the curtain call. The range comes in full fruition. The fourth shot is not enough. And I thought, wait, GAM, what are we pulling the trigger for? Maybe to zone away Dagda, but it's enough as Easy Love steps up, plays with fire, and Dasher for the deadly flourish has to Dasher away. So SHG, they get out without losing some of their core carries, but I say that too early. Marvel is now run down, and Levi's got a movement speed buff. Come here, you mid laner. I want some more. Dasher over the wall, but I think the damage is already done, Dagda. I think GAM are playing with their food.
The fact you got the dragon, and you got the kills, and you're getting pushed and bot. Kiaya, an absolute menace in those fights, and this is why we always keep our eyes on this top laner whenever GAM is on your screen, because he is so crucial to their success. And even Levi looks like he's not going to be a threat because he doesn't have that dragon form. Kiaya sets up beautifully, unloading with that curtain call. Elio making sure everyone's staying in place, and look at Emo's positioning there, right? He's in such a good spot to get a ton of damage off, and Easy Love playing a little bit close here with having that barrier available means he's fine, but it does set up then for this chase down onto Marble as well.
Yeah, Captain Levi once again. Just a standing,
So chilled.
Well, chilled in a bad way. It's looking a little bit rough around the edges. It's a 3K gold lead. It's only 2 dragons to 1, but you know, we've been talking up GAM for a while here. We've been talking about how this early game's been transitioning, what's been happening. It's only 2.5K damage, but again, that zone control was rough, and we're starting to see more and more how GAM are playing with the tools they've got in this game. And Dagda, how we set up for the fact that, you know, we want to see SHG running out of the gates. They have been slowed at every turn here by GAM's transition to mid-game.
And I think GAM have been doing a really good job of just playing off of where their strengths are, right? Like, yes, they fell behind a little bit early in that bottom side, but Emo was in a relatively good spot. Kiaya was getting a ton of work done. They're grouping up well to get towers, to force teams back. They're playing off of lane states well, and I think a huge amount of that is the veterancy that you see at the bottom of your screen. Like, Levi has been here for so long. He has shown up so often in internationals. Now, the win rate may not look that great, but he always puts on a show whenever he's here.
He does, and he's one of the most feared, you know, minor region junglers. I'm not sure if it's fair to call VCS minor region, you know, considering they bring 2 seats. Intermediate region jungler, right? You know, up there with PCS or LMS historically, and you know, Levi's got so many years under his belt, so many championships alongside GAM as well. He's helped make this team and helped shape it. And once again, using his veterancy and his leadership, hovering around Baron right now, he's not going to take it, but you can see this Shyvana is strong, has Dragon Form available again with 2 and a bit items, and is once again looking to poke as Evie is going to get some damage down. Between Worlds, the zone out, Kiaya just uses that 1.25 seconds to get to the other side.
Yeah, that's a big ultimate down though. So if you're trying to look for fights now, that was kind of GAM's way of holding you in place. They don't really have a great engage apart from that. So if I'm Hawks, maybe this is a window that I can look to play around with. But Evie needs to get his ult up. Elio going to back away. With that being said, it is very difficult for Hawks to try and find these engages. If Elio is able to stand with the steadfast presence, the kite back from GAM is so strong.
And the follow-up isn't there if Evie's not there as well, right? You know, you talked about it. We've got the hot pot once again. Oh, sorry, I'm starving. I would love one of those right now, and I'd love to see it from SHG as well. Dasher getting thrown back to this tier 1 that's been standing for so long, but rooted up! Deadly flourish from downtown. Oh, I would be spewing.
Yeah, Easy Love is firing all cylinders with these, and I mean, it's sick to see him popping off as well, because this was a man that struggled when it came to like coming off the back or even coming into GAM itself. Was replaced by Neo at the start of the split. A lot of people are like, this isn't a great AD carry, what are we doing? And once he came into GAM and kind of showed up at internationals for MSI, now he's starting to show up again here on this Jhin. The man has been putting in work on this show.
What have we been calling him? He's like the fill-in, right? You know, the replacement, and then he became, you know, question mark, and they thought he's going to get benched, and then he comes in and we're like, wait a minute, maybe this guy can be a carry as well. And Easy Love now the mainstay, played all of summer playoffs for VCS, and has a championship under his belt again.
I remember what we were talking about. The fact he got accelerated with those early kills means he's nearly at that infinity edge. So now he's moving away from just giving you a little bit of a niggle with those auto attacks that actually starting to hurt. So
now he's not a mosquito.
He's got more.
He's a horsefly. Take that. Another kill goes down. Another one over to Easy Love is going to help clear the wave as GAM just keep finding picks after picks. They see Forest in his jungle, but that ain't his jungle anymore, and GAM are on the chase.
Yeah, Forest needed to be very careful there because Kiaya could have thrown down that ult and just held him in place. I think kind of maybe calling the bluff of GAM not moving in, but the tower should fall relatively soon. Good amount of poke coming down. GAM just need to full commit onto this, but I'm trying to keep my eyes on Forest. Thanks, observers. Is he going to get caught here by GAM? He wants to try and get in towards Dragon.
Oh, out the edge of vision.
He wasn't seen.
Our observers are following in. You're right. He hasn't been seen. He's at a great angle. If he can find anything onto Easy Love, he'd be like, how did he get here? But no, he's still too far away, and Easy Love is too close to the turret for now.
Oh, the observers made me so hard. I was like, is he actually there? But no, Forest ends up backing away. I think that could have been such a sick pick onto Easy Love, and maybe he could have set up for this Dragon, but now Emo on the top side, wave cleared out by Marble. Doesn't mean that ultimate isn't available if they want to try and contest this. But GAM kind of out of position.
And Levi's got his ult up again and just recharges so quickly. Moving into a choke here, Elio thinks about it, even though, you know, for GAM, there's no hard engage, but they've got side lanes working on. That top bit of turret's going to drop down. Levi jumps into the pit. Dragon is stolen as well for the Dragon King. I salute the captain again as he blows another house down. Evie's looking for the chase, wants the kill. Easy Love burns out of context, but another bellows breath, another burn, another Dragon's Rage, and Levi turns and came to play.
Levi showing why this Dragon was banned against them so consistently in the VCS. GAM have come alive in game number 1, and they are styling on the Hawks.
It is indeed GAM time for game number 1. With such a big lead now as well. Not only that inner turret at the start of the play, all inners on the map have just been chunked and taken down as we look back.
And I'm watching Vista versus Kiaya. Vista's doing a good job of trying to keep Kiaya in check, but he's now kind of out of position because he can't really come in with the teleport. And then you get Kiaya with the ultimate to lock down 3 of these members. Levi's able to back it up. Marvel can't really get into position to take the fight. And it means that you've just got GAM, who are just in such a better position to set up a concave fight to push forward. And then Emo, great job just finishing off Marble underneath the tower there, but Levi needs to take a bow. 3 kills, that Dragon, massive success for GAM.
Clean performances from, you know, again, what we talk about as rookies with the newer players of GAM as well, right? The supporting staff is, you know, GAM looking happy enough for this game 1, and this turnabout from bot earlier on to the picks that they've been utilizing with Levi, with Kiaya, that ultimate's so annoying. I mean, there's so many good parts working in fruition right now for this game 1 of GAM.
And that's the thing, GAM, they fell behind early in playoffs domestically, but it was still just this mid to late game macro that was such a clutch factor for them that Vikings couldn't really get over. And we're getting to see it again, right? They've had the push on top while they're threatening Dragon, while they're in position in so many spots. Now, look, they were a little bit behind on getting towards that Dragon. It still works out, but you can see they are constantly trying to threaten multiple areas on the map, and Hawks just aren't able to keep pace right now.
Really not. 10k gold behind. As we keep blinking and the gold lead just keeps going up and up. And for people at home thinking, yeah, you know, the Hawks were not highlighting, well, we want to see more things like this, but Elio is tanking up at this point. The Keeper's Verdict sends out, gives numbers advantage. Forest has to all in, and he gets a kill off the back of it as he flashes away, and now has to take the blast gun away from Kiara as the curtain call from Easy Love does some damage on the back end. Now Levi's in Dragon form, has spotted out. That's a kill. So Easy Love will chase it, and chase it he will go.
But that's just because look at the top lane. The entire time this is happening, Emo is just doing his thing. So he's going to get an inhibitor turret and back away. Forest is still trying to run his way through the jungle. Will manage to escape from Easy Love.
Run, Forest, run!
But Emo, Heavy, I don't know if you win that.
I don't think so. I mean, look, this is a BT Tristana. He takes the damage off the equalizer as Forest did indeed run, and he escaped. Props to him. But as you said, that top side is now open.
Yeah, and that's really what you're playing for here is GAM. We talked about the 1-4 that they want to try and play around, and Emo's doing a great job of just keeping that pressure up consistently. And as long as Kiaya can always threaten these long-range engages, Hawks kind of have to commit, because if one person gets caught, it's just over. So from this position, you need to find something, but you're still waiting on a third item for this Ziggs. He hasn't really hit his stride. Same when you look at Dasher, still needs a third item to really be a big threat in these fights. It just feels like they're a pace behind when it comes to GAM.
And you know what I noticed after looking back in their Frank Esports series is Levi's here, and guess what? Elio just stuns Forest into the wall. He won't be able to move for long. Levi doesn't even go Dragon form. He's got 3 items, and he knows he does enough.
And now you get the push. Great pick from GAM. The tower's there. Marble's gone.
Into the wardrobe we go once more. We open that door, and Kiaya has taken us to a magical land filled of dreams, happiness for GAM. Dagged it in 27 minutes. I'm ready to go to the land of Game 2.
Yeah, this is domination from GAM. One or two bright spots for Hawks in the bot lane, but it's all gone dim.
It has indeed. Evie's going to be the first to go with another breath. Levi will take his fill once again, godlike on this Shyvana. GB, you got some breaking down to do because this pick has dominated the SoftBank Hawks in game number 1. The Hawks wanted to fly, but today is GAM time. We're staying grounded.
Incredible performance from GAM in game number 1. The shot calling, the way they play out the map, how they approach fights against Hawks. Hawks just never really got to play out their composition, and I think this was a difficult enough composition to execute when you don't have like guaranteed engage tools. You're trying to use Gaia as that, but this was great. The execution was great.
I mean, again, yeah, you got doubts. You're like, it's definitely not the easier of the two, right? You think about all the tools that the SoftBank Hawks had. And they're tools that, again, we saw before the game was ending. I was going to explain that the SoftBank Hawks had tools like this as we looked through the Frank Esports win as well. Even some of the good moments in the PSG individual game win.